Dateline Washington, Thursday, 5 June. The Trump administration officially canceled the notorious $8 billion electric car charger construction scheme, which, as you already know fairly well if you've been watching this program for any length of time, was supposed to build a magnificent, gleaming network of brand new electric car chargers from sea to shining sea. And in the actual event, they built 8. So the next time someone comes up on you and tries to say Mayor Pete Buttigieg isn't a comically incompetent douchebag who's got less business in the president's cabinet than the average homeless man who lives under your local freeway overpass, I want you to throw the receipts right in that man's face, because it takes visionary leadership to build 8 electric vehicle charging stations in 4 years for $8 billion. And we know he already had his hands full as it was, what with fixing all of our racist roads and staying home for 6 weeks so he could chest feed the twins. In fact, Mayor Pete was such a great transportation secretary, we passed a $1.2 goddamn trillion infrastructure bill, and those 8 goddamn electric car chargers are just about all we've got to goddamn show for it. And if that doesn't scream effective governance, then by God, I don't know what the hell does. And just so nobody is unclear on the number of these stupid things they were supposed to build and didn't, it was supposed to be around 6,000. And we got 8. So, and would I be remotely surprised if at least 4 of those were broken already? I would not. And it took a gigantic set of testicles, or a crippling lack of self-awareness, one or the other, for Mayor Pete to go on Face the Nation in September of 2023, many months after the passage of the so-called infrastructure bill, and casually, almost matter-of-factly remarked that he had a spot of trouble finding charging stations for his electric car on his recent family road trip. And did the intrepid journalist Margaret Brennan immediately challenge him on the absurdity of that statement, since he runs the department that is supposed to be building the thing he is complaining about there not being enough of? Nope. Of course she didn't. Don't be silly. She just smiled and nodded politely and pivoted right back to talking about the really important things, like how difficult it is being the first gay presidential cabinet secretary, and how many man-hours are involved in determining which roads are racist and which roads are non-racist, or how embarrassing it was when they made him go to East Palestine and cosplay as Bob the Builder, or Alfred E. Newman the Builder, I guess would be a more fitting appellation. But has a grown man ever looked more awkward than Secretary Mayor Pete looked on that day? Perhaps, but it sure as hell was not in front of the whole national media, I will tell you that. And if there's any lesson we can take away from the murderer's row of legendary all-stars that was the Joe Biden cabinet, it's that you can never, ever go wrong when you hire people for very important jobs on the basis of their immutable personal characteristics, and pay absolutely no attention to whether they are capable of doing the job that you're hiring them for. And while the vice president isn't really technically a cabinet member, I think we can throw the California cackler into that group too, because remember when Joe all of a sudden started pledging to have a black woman running mate just out of the blue, immediately after he got the Jim Clyburn endorsement and won South Carolina because of it, which I'm sure that was all just a big coincidence. Does anybody else get the feeling he didn't really think that thing through when he agreed to it? Because they wind up handing him a list of 3 names. 2 of them are Kamala Harris and Karen Bass. Meanwhile, Mayor Pete was putting ointment on his chafed nipples and dreaming of electric car chargers.